for you right
Merry
there.
Christmas. All right.
We'll
Lindsey Singer joining us now. So let's get Lindsey up and going. Lindsey, welcome to Rush to Reason. How are you?
Hi, Lindsey.
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
Listening through our... we only do Christmas music on Rush to Reason for the 7 days prior to Christmas. That's it. So it's a special week.
Well, I don't think you should be talking about diets the week before Christmas.
Well, that's because we're trying to psych ourselves out for the week after.
Yeah, because we're starting this horrible thing called
January 2nd.
Zero Net 30.
No, it's the whole 30.
Dark 30. Just something
Whole dark
like
30. That
Whole
is
dark
it, Dan.
30.
It's going to be a dark month.
It is.
It's going to be fine.
Where we don't get to eat anything good for 30 days.
No, nothing. No
Good luck
sugar,
to all
Dan.
of
No
you.
carbs. So, anyways. And you're welcome to join in, Lindsey, if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll be with you in spirit.
Oh, thanks. There we go.
He's like, no way, in other words.
No way.
All right. Lindsey is from Colorado Rising Action. You have a 2019 opportunity agenda. In fact, it just went out via email. I received it, I believe, earlier today, or it was yesterday. I can't remember which. But talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, so we put this out before the legislative session as sort of a vision for the future of Colorado. A lot of the stuff we included is already happening, but we want to make sure that it stays that way in the legislature. And we've talked before about the worry that this newly elected legislative majority, all the Democrats, will undo some of the policies we have. So this sort of puts forward what we see for the future, and it's a broad agenda. So we know some of these things that we see on energy, Tabor, education, that we have to keep making the argument for these policies and the conservative vision for the future.
Should we go through these things line by line? You want
Let's
to?
do it. That sounds good.
Okay, so the agenda gives broad recommendations on the following issues. Promoting and protecting Tabor and Coloradans' ability to control the size of government. Supporting an all-of-the-above energy approach. Prioritizing transportation and fixing our roads. Continuing to improve our education system. And then healthcare, lowering costs and increasing quality and accessibility. So 5 things there essentially that you've got in this opportunity agenda.
Exactly.
All right, so what can we and our listeners do to help push this along and or have some influence in this area?
Well, especially since the whole state legislature is going to be against this.
Correct. How do we fight against that, I guess what I'm asking.
Yeah, well, I don't think the whole legislature is against it. There were even Democrats who ran on some of this stuff, especially protecting Tabor. And, Governor-elect Polis, has said that he supports Tabor and will protect Tabor. So what we need to do, since the voters said, you don't have any more money, make do with what you have, but we want to see changes in these areas, we need to remind voters what elected officials ran on and also remind the elected officials what they promised to the voters. So I think there's some of that there. We don't all disagree on all of it, and we need to find those areas and pick them out and bring them to the surface again.
Okay, makes sense to me. So when things get fired up, and we'll keep having you back, of course, so as things get fired up, I'm guessing that you'll have people that we can actually call and write to and or make even personal visits to if needed to try to fight some of these things. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, do you mean like which legislators have
Yes,
voting?
yeah. In other words, as things get fired up and different bills start to roll through and so on, there'll be things I'm guessing you guys could help us with on how we help combat some of these things, right?
Yeah, it's going to be fast and furious, but we plan on being really active and specifically under these 5 areas.
And partially for everybody listening, one of the reasons we want to have Lindsey on a weekly basis is to give you this information. And when there's something really pivotal that's coming out and something we really need to fight against, Lindsey, you can help spearhead that with us and tell us exactly who we should contact, what we should do, and sort of, if you would, get the troops rolling here.
Yeah, and we're trying to make it not all reactive. There's certain things to react to, but more proactive. And like you said, what's coming up in the next few weeks and what people can do to stop it or, just to make their opinions heard. And I think with the not having a majority, that's really all we can do as conservatives right now is make our voices as loud as they can be.
Yep.
So I do have one question on the agenda, and that is, how do we support the all-above energy approach without our rates going up as well?
That's a good question. I mean, Colorado is definitely moving towards more renewables, and Excel said they're moving towards renewables, and But I think we have to hold on to the oil and gas part of that. And I don't have a specific answer for you. I think I have as good a guess as the rest of you that our rates probably will go up a little bit, but holding that back as much as we can.
And that's one of those things where, and I know this doesn't always even happen at the legislative end of things because the PUC controls a lot of what even Xcel is allowed to do when it comes to rate increases and so on. And that's where we can actually be vocal when it comes to those sorts of meetings they have and letting, basically letting people know that we don't want our rates going up. We like the way things are now. We like our cheap natural gas. Leave it alone. If you want to, you're not, and folks listening, I know you're not going to want to hear me say this, but I'm going to have to anyways. You're not going to stop wind and solar. It's going to be part of an agenda. It's going to be there. It's in every single state across our country. You're not going to stop the investment in wind and solar, even though I think it's a bad investment, Lindsey. You're not going to stop that. So I think, to your point, the thing we have to do is try to minimize that as much as possible and still focus on the greater part of that with natural gas, especially in Colorado.
Yeah, agree with that.
And, of course, coal. People don't realize this, but we still have a lot of coal-fired plants here in Colorado as well. So between those two, that natural gas, we just continue to push those. And again, you're not going to keep the wind and solar out of the state, but I think to your point, Lindsey, minimizing that as much as we can is what we need to do.
Yeah, and I think one point is, when things go up, fixed costs that we have to pay for in our lives, like, our energy bill, we're going to pay that. And certain other fixed costs continue to go up, and then the Democrats vote in fees and work around Tabor, and so our cost of living goes up, and then you give us another tax increase on the ballot, and voters say no time after time, and the legislature needs to hear that very clearly.
Got it. All right, Lindsey Singer, Colorado Rising Action. Lindsey, what's the website folks can find out more about you and the work you guys are doing?
It is coloradorisingaction.org.
Awesome. Lindsey.
Thanks, Lindsey.
As always, thanks a lot. Have a great Christmas. We'll talk to you next week.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Perfect.